Hey my coffee walnut cakes, welcome to this video. So exam season is now fast approaching, unfortunately, and so whether you're doing GCSEs or year 12 mocks, year 12 mocks are probably more important than people realise. I just want to put that out there, so like please don't fumble them. Or A-levels, which is what I'm doing this year. This is a really good chance, like the Easter half term, to really lock in, really grind and get the grades that you are fully capable of and that you are fully deserving of as well. So now is a really important time to get onto the right path towards your goals, and I promise you that any extra effort that you put in now, you will feel the impact when you're sitting your exams, and you will be able to see the outcomes on results day when you open up that piece of paper and you see how your hard work has paid off, and you'll feel that happiness and pride in yourself when you do get the grades that you've been wanting to get. So this video I'm going to be telling you the things that I did at this point in time that helped me get 9 9s at GCSE and 1 mark of a 9 in English language. But in my defense, I had really bad hay fever. Like, my immune system was not good. It still isn't really, but it's getting better. But I remember the first exam, oh my god, I was just sneezing and blowing my nose the entire time. Like, it was diabolical. Anyway, but I did get predicted 9s throughout the 2 years, so I feel like I'm still qualified to talk about getting all 9s. And I did get all A stars at in my year 12 mock exams as well. So I will be using these tips this year for my A-levels too. Bro, this one bit of my hair won't go back. Like, I hope it's giving like Zayn Malik and not Cameron Dallas right now. But anyway, starting off with a tip that is super important, especially for GCSEs because you have to do more subjects, is ranking your subjects in terms of importance and also in terms of ability. So how good you are at the subject, how easily you can pick up the concepts and the information and memorize it, and then how well you do it in the exams. So I want you to list out all of the subjects that you do and then have them listed, ranked from 1 to whatever like number of subjects you do. So say for example you do 10 GCSEs, so 1 to 10, and then you assign them a number. So 1 is the most important for one column, and then that goes 1 to 10, and then in the next column it's for ability. So that's 1 being the most difficult subject. So now that you have these 2 columns, you then add the 2 numbers that you've given each subject together, and then that gives you a final number, and you can rank the subjects based on this. So this means that the subjects with the lowest numbers are the ones that are important as well as being difficult for you. So you need to be spending more time and more effort on these subjects. So in terms of importance, maybe it's English language and maths because you need to pass those in order to go to like college, university, apply for jobs, or it's subjects that you want to take at A-level, so you want to get a high grade in them. And oh yeah, this is just a really random side note, but I just want to put this out there. I know a friend of a friend who wanted to do maths at university but didn't get a 7 in English language and so couldn't take that course at their dream uni. So take GCSEs, take year 12 mock exams as seriously as possible, because it's better to take it seriously and have that cushion rather than not taking it seriously and then you're kind of screwed. And also, so I would now probably recommend doing a rough schedule and timetable in the final like few weeks, few months, final month. Now is a good time to start implementing that. The next point is going through the specification that the exam board has provided for that subject, and then highlight all of the sections where if you got asked questions about it you probably wouldn't feel that confident answering. So the spec you can just find online, you can print it out or do it on your iPad and just highlight all of the areas where honestly you can't remember learning about it in the lesson. Because the worst feeling is if you open up an exam paper, you read a question and it just does not make sense. At that point it doesn't even feel like English anymore. Like, you're reading words but you're not understanding anything. You do not want to be in that situation for the real thing. So it's very important that you make sure that you have covered all of the areas that could come up on the exam, because the specification is like legally the only stuff that they are allowed to ask you about. They can't ask you anything other than what they have already said that they will. And this is really useful because sometimes teachers might not cover it in lessons or might not cover it in enough depth, or also sometimes they might teach you or tell you about stuff that isn't even on the spec, so you wouldn't even need to learn it basically. So you can save time and effort by not doing those bits as well. And so this is so important for filling those gaps in your knowledge and like plugging those holes so your ship doesn't sink. I don't actually know where I was going with that. Like, I was on a roll and then I don't know where that imagery came from. But yeah, you don't want your boat to sink. And in terms of once you have found those gaps, this goes on to my next point, which is then learning the content. So now is a really good point to start doing past paper questions. Like, do some every single day. I think it's slightly different for STEM and humanities. So for STEM, for A-levels, I do biology, chemistry and geography. So I've kind of got both. So for biology and chemistry and like other STEM, I would really recommend going to physics maths tutor. I'm sure you've already heard lots of people talking about it, but they've got all of past paper questions organised by topic and also by paper. So it's just really useful. And then I would also screenshot the past paper questions and then put it into Anki. So Anki is really useful because it has a spaced repetition system already inbuilt into it. So I do fully appreciate, you know, the benefits of paper flashcards, but I do think it's really easy to forget when you have to do them again in order for the information to actually stick in your head. So Anki is really useful because it tells you when you need to start reviewing the flashcard set again. And past paper questions are just so much more useful than rereading notes and textbooks, because the past paper questions make you have to apply the knowledge in a way that the exam will be asking you to do as well. You know, like the exam isn't going to be like a comprehension task necessarily. It's going to ask you to regurgitate information, but also word it in a specific way, making sure you cover certain points. Like I do biology, I'm a victim of mark schemes, and also it just like makes you think in a certain way. And also doing your own exam board, because exam boards I think will ask questions slightly differently and make you think slightly differently. So sticking to your own exam board is useful too. But then for humanities, so for me geography, I wouldn't do past paper questions as like the revision. I would be memorizing content using flashcards. So that's like statistics, figures, certain concepts that can be applied for like a lot of different essays. So say for example English literature GCSE, now is a really good point to start memorizing quotes and making sure that you learn the analysis with it as well, and memorizing that so that in the exam you can just regurgitate it. You don't have to sit there thinking, because you don't really have time, to be honest. Like, you don't want to be sit there pondering like, oh, what was the wording of this quote? But also with that, so this is mainly for humanities subjects, doing past paper questions and giving them to your teachers to mark is also really useful. So I want you this holiday to start doing past papers in time conditions and like in silence, focused on it, and then giving the essays to your teachers to mark. So this is so useful for English literature, English language, history, your modern foreign language writing essays, the longer ones. That's really useful as well. And then with the feedback, you can use that to improve your future essays. Hopefully you'll have like a couple, or even just like one or two is still better than none. Also, doing past papers in general is just so useful, so you can see how you are with timing. Also, you can see what sort of topics tend to come up quite often, and then memorizing mark scheme answers for that as well. Like making sure you are doing it in time conditions again, marking it, and importantly, you are noting down and like having a question bank somewhere of all the questions that you get wrong with their answers and an explanation of why that is the answer, and therefore like why you got it wrong. Because it's not enough to just do a question, leave it. You need to know why you got it wrong, and then that will stick with you, so that in the real thing, if you get asked a question similar, because content and like questions are recycled, so there is a very high chance that questions in your real exam are very similar, maybe like even the same, just in like a different context. Like in biology, they might use a different animal as a question that you've already done before, so it helps prepare you for the questions that you don't know yet. It's good to do the past papers now, because you will remember the answers more than if you did past papers like a few months ago. So the closer you get to the actual exam, that's when you should be ramping up your past paper practice. Also in general, so those were the study tips. Now we're on to like the whole holistic advice, because exams, like your performance is not just based on your revision, it's also based on other factors as well. Firstly being control your screen time. You know, if you know who you are, like if you are spending hours on TikTok and Reels, YouTube Shorts. I think if you're spending hours on YouTube Shorts and Snapchat Spotlight, I think you've got bigger problems, no offense. Anyway, so now is the time where you need to take it seriously. You need to get off that, like, I'm not saying you have to go from like 3 hours screen time to 0 hours screen time. Make it gradual, but the earlier you start, the better. You will thank yourself, and once you start reclaiming more of your life, you will feel like a better state as well in general. And obviously attention span is a big issue if you're like addicted to social media and like short form content, because some of the exams are long. Like you've got English literature GCSE, it's 2 hours 15. You're going to be tweaking not even halfway through, you're going to be tweaking after like half an hour because you can't focus. So now is a really good time to start putting in screen time. I know it's like what a 5-year-old has, but start putting in like a daily screen time with a password. Oh, get your friends to set the password, or like get your siblings to set your password, so that you actually can't go on the app once it's done. Also, getting your sleep on track, and these tips low-key apply to me as well. Like I am going to be doing this as well. It's not just me telling you, we're all in this together. So getting your sleep on track and making it consistent. So making sure that you're falling asleep and waking up at relatively the same time each night. Try to limit 2 a.m. conversations and yaps. Try to reduce the number of late night conversations you're having, even though it's really hard, and trust me, I know, but you don't want to be sleep deprived going into exams, because you need to be on it. You need to be thinking clearly, otherwise you're just going to make silly mistakes. Also, start being consistent. If you're like not really revising that much, or you know that you need to do more, start gradually building it up, because it's better to do less but consistently, rather than doing loads in one day and then crashing for the next 2 days. And also better than cramming for exams like that you have the next day. And with that, finally, finding your why. So you need to have this like motivation, right? And motivation is much more short term. It like fluctuates based on the day, based on your mood, based on if you're on your period. But having a purpose, I think like that is really, really important. So the most healthiest one is where you want to get those grades because you want to do it for yourself. You know that you're capable of doing it and you don't want to waste your potential. But I do understand that sometimes, you know, you need something bigger than yourself as your purpose. So you could do it because you want to go to a really good uni, you want to do it for your parents, or you just want to mog everyone. And you know, that is so valid. If that's what motivates you, good for you. So these are all of the tips I just wanted to talk about in this video. I do have a lot more study tips, so let me know like what kind of videos you want me to make related to studying. I think I'm going to go back to my roots in the next few months, because I want you guys to get the best grades as possible. But yes, I hope you have a great day and love you guys so much. Like, comment and subscribe if you found it helpful. I guess it's free. But yeah, I do genuinely love reading comments. If I've been able to help you, like it's a privilege to be able to help people, and it gives me like a purpose when I read those comments. Like, it's so fulfilling. But yeah, love you guys.